Hey everyone, this is Lolcohol, and in this video I'm going to be speaking about some tips to dying less. This was inspired by a lot of the people using my low life build who seem to be having trouble, so a lot of this is going to be targeted at those people doing this build, but a lot of these tips are going to be general that you can apply to any build. At the end of this video, I'm going to be also adding some updated tips for the low life build, so check the chapters below, and if you want to skip ahead to that, check that out. I just didn't want to put out a 2-minute update video about a build because, yeah. Alright, so something that a lot of players overlook, especially newer players, is their flasks. Flasks are really good at keeping you alive. Things like panicked flasks. This gives you instant recovery when on low life, so if you take a quick hit and your life dips very low, then you hit this and your life shoots back up. Also, for people doing my low life build, check your flasks. Try get these panicked flasks because you're always on low life, so you'll always get instant recovery from these flasks. Also though, you've got things like granite flasks, which increase your armor. You've got quartz flasks. This is very nice because this gives you phasing, which means you can run through monsters. You're not going to get blocked. You just phase straight through them, and it gives you spell and attack dodge. Also, quicksilver flasks. A lot of people think this is just to go faster, but this can really help you navigate through mobs and dodge things more easily. So have a look at your flasks. Check the rolls that are on them. Also make sure they have quality, and try always have things like panicked for life. And then also another thing is the suffixes such as immunity to bleeding and corrupted blood. Corrupted blood and bleeding can kill you very quickly. Also immunity to freeze and chill. This is another thing that can save your life. Just having this flask up, this is a huge improvement on your overall survivability. Another thing, and I know it's silly, but I need to say it, just make sure that your resistances are capped. When you hit maps, you need to have at least 75 of all resistances. I just swapped my gear around last night and went to bed, so I'm sitting at 71% lightning resist, but I promise you I will not step foot in a map unless that is capped. You might not think there's a big difference between 71 and 75%, but I assure you there is. I'm not going to put the math on screen now, but make sure your resistances are capped. Also, try to get your chaos resistance as high as possible. I know it's hard, especially early on in League, but if you can cap your chaos resistance, that is a huge survivability boost. Another one, and I know it's silly, again, make sure you have enough life. I see a lot of people playing builds where they're trying to do red maps and they've got 3,000 life. You're not going to get away with it unless you have some other crazy layers of defense. Make sure you are allocating enough life nodes. This build, the whole point of it is to stack life. So I mean, I'm sitting at 8,000, which is much higher than usual, but don't overlook your life nodes. And make sure you have enough. Same for ES. If you're doing ES, then use that. Also, things like armor and evasion, these again help, especially in conjunction with the, say, granite flask. You can see my physical damage reduction is now 50% when that's activated. Could be higher, but things like armor, a lot of people overlook it and think, it's kind of meme, it doesn't do anything. Armor and evasion are really good. Same with dodge and evasion. And also charges, things like having some endurance charges. Endurance charges give you physical damage reduction and elemental resistance. So these are another few ways to survive. Also your Pantheons. So these are free survivability upgrades. Let's just have a look at Soul of the Brine King. You cannot be stunned if you've been stunned or blocked a stunning hit in the last 2 seconds. I mean, that's a nice little thing. And then you can go on and upgrade these if you get divine flasks. Over here, you get one of these divine vessels, and then you put it in your map device along with the appropriate map. So you have to capture the soul of the boss. In this case, it would be POWAH, the challenger. So you can go on your map device, on your atlas, and type POWAH. Okay, I haven't found POWAH yet. But if you do have that map available and you see the name and you say, where the heck is POWAH? then you can do Control F Puruna and it'll show the map in which that boss is in. You just put the Divine Vessel in with the map, complete the map, then this will be blue and glowy. You take it out, take it to Sin. Sin will upgrade your Pantheon, and hey, look, you cannot be frozen if you've been frozen recently. That's a really big upgrade. And also same for these little ones. These ones can all add. So have a look at your Pantheons. This is another free little bit of survivability. Another thing is guard skills and cast when damage taken skills and setups. So you can see on this build, I've got Steel Skin on my left click. This is a guard skill, and it's an instant cast, meaning that I can just click it on my left click. I will always move, and it'll always cast as soon as it comes off cooldown. This is also nice if you are mana based. You can use something like Arcane Cloak, but this is another layer of survivability. Same with an Immortal Call, cast when damage taken setup. So how this works is after taking a certain amount of damage, my Immortal Call will automatically go off, and Immortal Call gives you, let's see, take less physical and elemental damage for a short time, consumes up to 5 endurance charges. So I get hit for a certain amount and then Immortal Call triggers and it helps me stay alive a bit. So that's another layer of defense that you can do. So let's actually hop into a map, and I'm going to speak about actual mechanics of playing this game, which a lot of people do not talk about when it comes to survivability. I know this video is not going to be hyper technical. I'm not going to be speaking a ton about things like, you know, armor calculations and things like that, but let's jump into a map and speak about mechanics. So on this build at least, and for those of you playing this build, just make sure you are paying attention to this, but your movement skills are okay, I'm not playing with sound. I can't hear it. I'm trying to talk. Well, what I was trying to say is that your movement skills are very important for not dying. I mean, in that case, if I had dodged that and actually paid attention, being able to dash away very quickly would have been, you know, I would not have died because I could have easily moved. So make sure that you have a movement skill, and also make sure that it's linked with things that help it out to, you know, either dash faster or flame dash faster. If you're using flame dash, you might want to link it with something like faster casting. On my Whirling Blades, I've got Whirling Blades, faster attacks, and Fortify. This is a tip from someone in my last video who said, hey, you should link Fortify on your Whirling Blades. That way, when you Whirling Blade and hit something, you get a free Fortify setup. So have a look at what links you have on your movement skills, because you can find more survivability there. Now, this is going to be primarily for people playing the build that I'm playing now who have been struggling, but let's have a look at this Ultimatum, right? So what I'm doing is I'm constantly moving. I'm not standing still very long. I'm hitting, dodging, constantly moving. And if you're standing still for more than a couple of seconds, especially in ultimatums, then it gives monsters a much higher chance to actually hit and kill you. And I mean, it sounds kind of obvious, but sometimes you need to be told something that, I don't know, sometimes you might have just overlooked something. But you see, I'm constantly moving, constantly dodging, do a couple of hits, move to the side, move to the side. I'm like a ninja. No one can hit me. Just moving, hitting my flasks, dodging, moving, dodging, moving, get away. I mean, this is Path of Exile because I have no idea what's happening right now, but if I keep moving, they can't kill me. So that's what I'm doing. And for any other build, make sure that you have this kind of mobility. Some builds might be tankier than others and might be able to get away with being a little more sluggish. But on this build especially, you want to constantly be dodging and moving because it is a damage over time build, so I can get away with doing a couple of hits, then a dodge, then a die. You get the picture. It's very hard to pay attention and talk at the same time. Without sound, by the way, so But you get the idea. It's just moving and dodging and flying and dashing and trying to be as evasive as possible. Not just having a chance to evade, but literally mechanically, the way you're playing the game, dodging and being evasive to be hit less often. And of course, embarrassing yourself while trying to record a video by dying about a video about not dying. Oh no. There are some other things hiding on the tree that can really help with survivability. Things like unwavering stance. You cannot evade, but you cannot be stunned. This is very nice. Being stunned is kind of a death sentence in some ways. Also the agnostic. This is another really nice survivability thing. These are very build specific, but I'm just drawing your attention toward them. Things like chaos inoculation. This is sort of advanced, but it can help you. And then once again, looking at your jewels and looking at your life and looking at your layers of defense. So you can say, I have a layer, my primary layer is life. Now, how do I protect my life? I've got armor, I've got evasion, I have an immortal core setup or a guard setup, I've got movement, I've got immunity to freeze, I've got instant refill on my flasks, I have an immortal call setup. I probably said that already. Again, I'm not going to go into the math of it, but I'm trying to get you to think about it. What is killing you? How can you maybe prevent that? Maybe it's just something you can adjust with your flasks. Maybe you can allocate more life. There's a lot to it, and I'm trying to make this as accessible as possible without going into too much detail. But before we go, for people playing this low life build, and this is very, very important, and thank you, Guitaraholic, for pointing this out on stream yesterday. But when I was fighting a boss, I had my war banner up, and then I went to fight the boss, and I said to people, hey, when you enter an ultimatum or a boss, drop your war banner, and it'll give you extra damage because now it's planted, it gives you extra attack speed and what have you. However, the moment I planted it, look what happens. I'm not on low life, and my damage gets cut by, let's see, 50,000. I placed my war banner. 23,000. It was cutting my damage in half. So if you are playing this build, don't place your war banner if it's going to put you above the low life threshold. You do get a bit of a buff just by having the war banner, but don't actually place it unless, like I said, you can maintain low life. So that's a very important one. And then obviously look at all the other things I mentioned. Try not to die when you're recording a video about not dying. But I think that's going to be it for this video. If you have any other suggestions about not dying, let me know. I will also link a video that Noogie did with Ziz where he spoke about defense and layers. It's about an hour long or maybe even 2 hours long, but it's really interesting. Noogie goes really in depth about things like evasion and how it functions and armor and how it functions. So if you want to get really nerd out and learn about survivability, check that video out. Anyway, have a wonderful day, everybody. Stay safe. Leave nice comments below, please, if you want. Don't be mean. Have a great day. Stay safe. Bye-bye. Like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitch if you want. Bye.
Divine power! Divine power! It's launching, Exile. You're making me nervous.